So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Radio W.O.R.K.S World. And my name is Gill Barham. I'm the Miracle Molecule host, and I'm having a light-hearted conversation today with one of my real brand gurus. Actually, Sammy did my brand, and I love her to bits, and I've known her for years. This is Sammy Blindell. Say hello, Sammy.
Hello.
So, are you at home? Are you in France?
I am. I'm in France. I was meant to take the whole of the summer off, but then I've just been called to go and film for a TV series over in San Diego. So I'm not going to have as much of the summer at home in France as I hoped I would, but it's good. It's all good.
It's a hard life, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, Sammy. So I know what you do, and I know the phenomenal works that you do to help people. And I'm in some of your groups, and you've helped me amazingly. But just in case there's anybody here that has no idea what you do, would you please describe to us what you do, what you're passionate about, what you love to help people with?
Okay, yeah, sure. Well, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Sammy Blindell. I'm the creator and founder of howtobuildabrand.org. And my vision for How to Build a Brand is to build the world's largest and most valuable brand building resource for entrepreneurs for fast growth businesses. I really had this vision. I've got a 100-year vision. I'm building something so much greater than myself. I love involving people like yourself in what I'm doing. And my mission is really to help entrepreneurs to stop wasting time, money and energy on doing the things that don't work anymore, and to start doing the things that do, to be a champion of first-time success. And I believe that every entrepreneur can be a champion of first-time success when they've got the right tools, the right branding, and the right mentors who already know the way and can show the way. I'm very passionate about that.
Brilliant. Excellent. And certainly what's amazing about Sammy is that she has this, not only the 100-year vision, but she has this amazing vision for you as an entrepreneur in terms of not where you are now, but where you can be. And I always remember the phrase, building the brand that you want to be, or where you're going to be in 5 years. And I remember when we did this exercise, probably 4 years ago now, or 3 years ago, it seemed really scary. And I didn't really believe that I would ever be in a position to live up to the brand name that you gave me, actually, which was the Lifestyle Leader. But now I feel really, really comfortable with it, with all the things that have happened over the last 3 years. That's exactly, all my brand values are still the same. And I suppose it's a bit of a law of attraction stuff going on as well. You get what you expect, don't you?
Well, you really get what you pitch for. And what I find is so many small businesses and small business owners, they fail mostly because they brand themselves as they are now, rather than what I do and what I do with my clients is to really look at, a long-term view, be the brand you want to see in the world. What brand is it that's missing? Who do you want to be? Who is that brand, and what are you doing in, say, 10 years, 100 years from now? What brand is that? Because when you're creating the brand and the branding for that, because the two things are very different, it means that you're growing something you can step into, like you have so beautifully done over the last 4 years. Look at how you've grown. We've really thought about what brand is it that you're building, and you step up to that brand. You step into it. You grow into it rather than growing out of it. And then the most amazing possibilities come to you, and the universe goes, wow, thank you so much. You've been so clear with me. Here it is. And it just delivers it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it really is awesome. Who knew? And even you said to me at the beginning of the course.
Well, I knew. That was the thing. I believe in you. I knew.
You did,
can't see in yourself what is already there. And I love looking, like you do, I love getting in there, open it wide, all this treasure just goes, boom, it just beams out. And it's just about looking, well, where is this treasure, and how does the right treasure impact on the right people?
Yeah.
And that's why it works.
Yeah. And I think it's, I've been very fortunate to have had people like you in my corner, various mentors, the lovely Marina, whose platform this is, Cheryl and Marion, who and Rachel at Elnor, and Priscilla Sigurigou, all have been part of that journey. And what it's really important for any entrepreneur, anybody that's in this world, is to surround yourself with people that will build you up rather than question what you do. You know, it's so easy for people to go, well, what's that about? And why are you doing that? And what, you know, just move away from those naysayers.
I have plenty of those. In fact, I'd say like one of the biggest killers of any business, and it killed 2 of my previous businesses, was partnering with the wrong people and not having the right people around you, the right mindsets. Because I think, as you will well know, and for those of you that are watching this right now, you will know how fundamentally important it is to surround yourself with people who are on the same mission as you. Even if it's not the same business as you, but they're on the same mission. They care about those same things. You know, if you're building a brand where you want to change lives and impact on people, then you need to be hanging around with other people above you that have already been there, that have seen the way, they can show you the way, and they can give you the examples of what's coming. You know, there's a train coming, you don't want to do it that way, but if you just tweaked it this 1% and did that thing, that's how you're going to get the success. And I think so many businesses fail unnecessarily, or feel like they are, because they're surrounded by people that just validate how they're already feeling. But if you're around the right people and you're like, shit, this is failing, or something's happening here, someone with the right mindset will go, is it really failing, or was it just that one little bit? What if you were to do this and that's all I needed to do? Whereas if you're on a down day, which we all have, and you're surrounded by down people, they'll just go, yeah, you're right. Maybe, do you know what? Maybe this isn't right for you after all. And you're going to start believing in that. So it's so important that you surround yourself with people that are on that same thought-leading mission as you. Even if you've got to go back to that, then at least you're built up during the day, and you've got enough of that topping that battery up, recharging you.
Yeah, and I was with I went to a Global Woman Conference yesterday, and John Lee was there. Do you know John Lee?
Yes.
And he was talking about having red people and green people in your life, and making a list, and having the red people as the naysayers, and the green people are the people that will go, yeah, that's a really good idea. Why don't you do that? And he's saying, you know, have those people that you know and people that you spend your time with, and work out whether they're a red person or a green person, basically. The challenge is then, what do you do about the red people, particularly if they're, you know, you're married to them? I
do have a strategy. This is exactly, I've read, actually, the red and the green, I've not heard of that one before, but on the brand building bootcamp, that's something I spend about 45 minutes just on that alone, because it's really important when you're working with people and they come to your workshop and you're transforming them. I know I've been through that myself, and I've gone on the day and I've had an amazing time. I've learned the most amazing strategies, and I'm all fired up. And then you've got to go home. You've got to go back to the life that you left before you went to that transformational experience. And the people at home haven't been through the same thing that you have. And one of the activities that I go into, and I'll just quickly cover it very briefly here, and I have got a video on YouTube where I covered this, was where you really think about what life it is that you want. What business is it that you want? You know, what, like if in say 5 years from now, what does that look like? And you get that very, very clear. Then you think about, who are the 5 people that I spend most of my time with? You know, whether that's a group, it might not be a person, it might be a group. So a group you're spending all your time with, it might be a certain customer, it might be your pets or your children, it could be whoever it is. Who is it that's feeding your mind is what you're really getting to. And then you go back to that list and you make a note of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of those people, you write them down, those 5 people, and you score them out of 10. How are they helping you? 1 being the lowest, 10 being, oh my God, they're absolutely freaking amazing and they're helping me. How are they helping you get that vision that you saw? And if they're a low score, then there's conversations to be had. And I would always have a conversation with those people to let them know what I'm doing, what's really important to me. It's really important to me you're part of this journey. But if you don't want to be, then that's fine. That's fine too. But then you start to separate yourself from those people, and you start to feel. Doesn't mean you have to get rid of those people out of your life. What it does mean is that you upgrade those 5 people, so that you are spending the majority of your time with the 5 people that they say, you know, when you're on your last legs and you can count 5 people that have absolutely been there for you. Who are they? Who do you want them to be? And you've got a choice. You can pick them right now. You don't have to get rid of anyone. Yeah. Just replace the people you spend most of your time with those 5 people. Very powerful. My mum, by the way, was part of my list of 5. And she was a 2 out of 10 when I did this exercise about 7 years ago. And I thought, crikey, I'm not going to get rid of my mum. So I sat down with mum. I took mum to dinner and I told her what my plans were, what's really important to me, what I want to do, what I'm struggling with, what I really need help with. And she stepped right up to like a 20 out of 10. She's now part of my organisation. She helps me run the retreats out in France. She's a big part of what I do now. I think sometimes there's this thing that we do as leaders where it's like, I'm strong. I can just get on with it. I don't need to ask for help. I've got this covered. I can do this. Oh, it'll take more time to get started. Oh, if I tell them to do it, it'll take me more time. If I just did it myself, it'd be faster. There's all these things that we do as an entrepreneur, which is the typical entrepreneur mindset. But what that doesn't do is really tap into the fact that other people do really want to contribute and they want to help. And sometimes they just don't know how. And it might be the communication is the response you get. So what you're communicating is, I've got this covered, I'm all cool. Whereas inside, you're like, holy fuck, I need some help. Can someone help me? You don't know how to ask, because now you're like this global entrepreneur and everybody's looking at you and you feel like you've got to be this perfect person. And, I kind of dropped that BS years ago and I did all that training. It's like, oh, here's how to polish it. And I thought, you know what? I've never been so unhappy. I'm more happy when I'm just being me, and it takes a lot less energy just being myself. And if you don't like it,
absolutely.
That's the point of branding, is to repel the people you don't want and to attract the people you do. It's fine. It's better to stand for something, better to stand for nothing than be Magnolia and liked by everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Fascinating. So you've given a little bit of an insight, just a tiny little insight of the amazing things that you do, to help people in your brand boot camps and all the rest. And I've attended one of those. But actually, we're not going to talk about any more about that now. We will at the end. But this call is actually about Sammy Blindell, the person behind the brand. And it's amazing. I've been waiting to do this because you are the brand building queen, to be able to fulfill my real kind of motivation for doing this, which I know you understand, is actually getting to the person behind the brand, anybody's brand or anybody's business, because I know that you really believe this, that people won't work with you until they know, love and trust you. And so giving people the opportunity to get to know a little bit about you, even though it might be a little bit uncomfortable for some people, actually gives that real connection, and gives you probably more opportunity to be able to help more people. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. People do only buy from people they know, like and trust. And I found more than ever that people aren't even necessarily, they don't care about what it is you do. They care why you do it. They care why you got to where you are. They care about the story. And there's not enough stories that are out there, And I know people that help to craft the story, and I've been to these courses where you craft the story, but what's the real story? What's the thing you've never told anyone? What's the thing that actually, that's why you really do what you do? And I think you're really onto something here. I can't wait to see what comes out of you.
Okay, so let's get going then. So I've got some scenarios for you, and I've also got some quick fire questions for you. And we're going to start with our first scenario. So just to tell everybody, Sammy obviously has no idea what I'm going to ask her at all.
I have no idea. I'm going to put this in flight mode so that we have absolute clarity of internet.
Brilliant. Okay, so Sammy, this is my first scenario for you. So I'm suggesting that you are in a country and you're in a nice hotel. It might even be, did you say San Diego you're going to? Did you say you're going to? Yeah, you're going to. So imagine you're in San Diego and you go to your hotel and you're going up to the top floor, the mezzanine floor, whatever it is, to have a really nice lunch. So you're hungry, you're going to have a nice lunch. You get into the lift, one other person gets in the lift with you. And as you get to the 6th and 7th floor, between the two floors, the lift breaks down. And they come onto the intercom and they say, sorry, you're going to be in there 2, maybe 3 hours. But the good news is that you're actually in a lift with windows, so you're not going to get claustrophobic. And the other good news is that you get to choose who the other person is that stepped into that lift with you. So who, of anybody dead or alive in the world, would you like to spend 2 or 3 hours with, completely uninterrupted, that you'd like to answer all those questions that you've ever wanted to ask? Who would that be?
Michelle Obama.
Okay, and why?
Michelle is one of those women who I love the balance that she has. I think as entrepreneurs, balance is one of the things that everyone is trying to achieve. And, you know, she, I don't know, obviously perception is perception, you know, and we see what we see in the media, but I don't know, I'm a pretty good judge of character, and I see through the gloss and the BS and everything. And I just see with Michelle Obama, I see a woman who is a dedicated and great mother. And I became a mother, well, last year, really. I became a mother for the first time and inherited 8 children. So all grown up children, I should say, but I'm still a mum nevertheless. And my priorities massively changed when Greg and I got together. My priorities absolutely changed, and as a result of that, I looked to female role models that were successful in business, who were great influencers from the heart, not because they wanted to sell something, but they were really on a cause, on a mission, something they really genuinely cared about, where there was a life-changing thing at the end of it. She's a great wife. She's you know, she just looks like she's got it all going on. She looks healthy. She looks fit. She looks like she's the kind of person that's just got it all together. And oh, bless Sabrina. Hello, Sabrina. And I just love what she's about. And actually, I think the conversation I would have with her in that lift would be about, you know, how have you managed to balance it so beautifully between the media, between home, between the White House, you know, from the penthouse to the White House to the homeless to, you know, she manages to care about everyone and fulfill her cause and her mission at the same time as filling her family life mission. And like I say, so my mission to have a life outside of business, all of a sudden I actually had one, and I had a reason to work. I had a reason to come home, and I'm actually quite emotional about it because I've never had that, and I'd wanted it, and it's what I'd always wanted, and I'd always wanted to be part of a family, and I'd always. You got me going now. You know,
you're not the first person that's cried on my show.
Sammy Blindell cried on my show. Because I'm so passionate about it, Jill. You know, that for me is like, you know, the reason I very first started my very first business, having been made redundant 2 Christmases in a row, and I just couldn't go through it again, the 3rd Christmas, and I was married at that time. And that's when I took that first real kind of risk of, do you know what, if I don't get paid, it's not because that company messed up. It's not because somebody else was in control of my money. If I haven't got any money, it's going to be because I haven't got any money, and I made that happen. So I first went self-employed back in 2002. And the biggest reason really for that was I was thinking, you know, look, I'd always thought that a job meant security. But having been made redundant 2 Christmases in a row, I realised that a job didn't mean security at all. It meant complete uncertainty because it was somebody else's choice over whether I got paid or not. And I really wanted to be a mum. I really wanted to be a mum. I didn't want to go through that whole childbirth thing. That's something that I'd always been terrified of. But I really wanted to be a mum. I knew that I wanted to birth things. I wanted to, you know, I'm a creator, and I just wanted to be responsible for something because I hadn't been responsible for anything. And I thought, okay, if I can keep a dog alive, I've got a pretty good chance. So I got a dog. That was a good start. And I just thought, you know, more than anything, like my mum worked so effing hard. My dad is a lorry driver. He was always away. My mum worked so hard. She was always working. And I grew up with my grandma pretty much full time. And so, you know, my mum talks about my first day of school. I don't remember my mum taking me to school. I don't know whether I've replaced her or whether she actually did. But I remember my grandma being there for my first day of school. I remember my grandma being there. My grandma couldn't even swim. I remember my grandma teaching me to swim. But my mum says, you know, oh, I remember when I taught you to swim. And I think, I don't remember that. And actually, that's one of the reasons why I sold my last business and moved to France, because we were at my grandma's funeral. And I overheard my mum talking to someone and saying they were out talking about the good old times, and she said something about me swimming, and I'm thinking, that wasn't you, that was grandma. And then she said something else, and I thought, that wasn't you, that was grandma. And I thought, Jesus, if I replaced every memory that I do have with you, with Grandma, or was it actually Grandma and you've talked yourself into it, you know? And I just
and which is it? Which is it?
I don't know. I still don't know. I still don't know, because I've never wanted to upset my mum by actually asking her. But but what I thought was, do you know what? I don't know my mum at all. I don't know. I've been so busy for the last 8 years. I mean, you know, I've built 7 companies now, and I'd been so busy because I didn't have children and I didn't have the life that I wanted. I was birthing businesses, not babies, and I was helping other people to birth businesses rather than my own babies. And it was just much easier to do that because I knew how to do it, and it was easier to avoid what I actually wanted and put all of my energy into the thing that I knew that I could do, and I was good at doing that. So I did that, and it was at my grandma's funeral in 2011 that I thought, fuck, like, I don't even know my mum, and I've spent all this time building these businesses. I don't even know my mum, and I don't know if I've replaced her or whether she's actually there. And like I say, like, to be honest, I've never tackled her with that, and maybe that's something I should do now. But I sold my business based on that decision. I sold my business that I've been building for 7 years. I sold it and I moved to France, and I've lived in France now for nearly 4 years. And my mum and I are like best of mates. I see her all the time, you know. And I suppose I've never really felt like I had to really answer that question. But for me, like, that was one of the key things. Going back to 2002, I just thought, do you know what? I've got an opportunity now. If I'm not, because I thought if I've got job security, then I've got maternity leave and I've got all those things, and I can actually be there. You know, I can do the whole mum thing. But actually, when I realised that there was no security in a job, and actually the only security was in the security I create for myself, that my mum had never been there for me when I was growing up, or I certainly felt like she hadn't been. And my dad was never there, and he hadn't really been there when I was growing up. And I thought, you know what, this is my chance. I want to have children. And I like, this is my chance to build something that I can be at home for them. And that's when I started, really. And that is a crazy reason for starting to be self-employed. But that was actually a huge motivation behind me being self-employed.
No, I don't think it is crazy at all. And I think, and I know you've got my book. I don't know if you've read it,
yes,
but
I've read it. Brilliant book.
And one of the reasons for writing the book is because there is a lot of health stuff in the book. But you know, I've got 5 different P's that I talk about, and one of those is really around, whether it's controversial or not, is actually the difference that we have now in the world, where these young women, my daughter's now 22 and 28. I have a son of 25, where, you know, people are having their children later, and women now are trying to have everything in the world, and they want to have the job, and they want to have the children, and they're looking after their family, and they're doing their sport, and they're going on holiday, and they're having a nice time. And it's so stressful for women in the world that actually I truly believe that what I have, which is this, not only the opportunity to be healthy, but also to have a business that promotes health and allows you to stay at home. That's a big driver for me, because I know what it was like when I was bringing my kids up, you know, and we chose after my second child was born that I would stay at home and look after my kids. A, because it was too expensive for child fees by then, but also because I thought I could do a better job than anyone else. I wanted to bring my own kids up. But now it's not the habit. It's not the norm to do that. There's almost this social pressure to go and get a job or go back to work. And yes, you know, if you're only living on one salary, it's hard. We were broke for years. But I don't regret it for a minute. I don't regret not having any foreign holidays and having cruddy cars that would break down, because I tell you what, when my children, even by the time they left home at 18, each one of them, most of what I did work, when I did work, it was from home. There wasn't a day went past when one of them or more of them would say, "Mum, are you still going to be here when I get home?" Even when they were 17 and 18, because actually they need you more as teenagers than they do when they're younger.
Yeah, well, I mean, Abby, she's 15. She's just about to, she's 15. So she'll be 16 in December. And she's just at that crucial age where, exams are coming up and, lots of things are changing around her, and we're moving into
scary time. Yeah, scary time.
Yeah, it is a scary time. And now more than ever, I work hard, but I don't work, when I'm in France and I haven't got the family around, I will work everything that I need to do. I will work night and day. But then when the family are here, I will work in the mornings and I take the afternoons as often as I can. And we'll just go off to the beach and we do things. And, so it's really important. Just give me...
Anyway, let's get...
Oh, sorry, can I just pause you a second? Ollie, would you do me a favour? I'm going to ask Peter to stop streaming. So my gardeners turned up just as we started this interview. It's like, okay, and all I can hear is streaming, and I don't want it to...
go and shout at him.
So, yes, anyway, moving on. Yeah.
So, we're in the lift with Michelle. We got rather sidetracked at that. So, in this lift with Michelle, we're both as bad as each other, aren't we? So, on the basis that you were going to lunch, I'm going to provide you with a lunch for you and Michelle. So I'm going to magic you up like Harry Potter, a lovely table and fine linen and shiny and all the rest of it. Huh?
I wish you really could. I wish you could do that.
And what I'd like to do is I'd like you to share with us what you would like to eat and drink with Michelle for that 2 or 3 hours that you're in the lift. What do you like to eat, basically?
What do I like to eat? Well, first of all, we would start with some champagne. Mm-hmm. We would have some champagne to celebrate life's successes, and maybe follow it up with a cheeky little mojito. I like
a mojito. Okay.
Yeah, a mint mojito. But I'm not sure I've actually found that soda water with lime juice tastes almost the same as a mojito. So I have those all the time, and I put my fresh mint and everything in there. So I'm having my kind of virgin mojitos all the time. So I would probably have a virgin.
That's my drink of choice. If we go out and I don't want to just drink water, I will have a lime juice and soda.
Yeah. So but it's got to be like proper real lime. I hate that cordial stuff. It's nasty. So I think I would probably do that. I'd have a glass of champagne to toast life's successes, but then I'd have a virgin mojito so that I didn't get drunk and silly in front of Michelle Obama. You don't want to do that. You've got your one chance. So we're sat in the lift, and what are we going to eat? What are we going to eat? Well, I'm a real, I don't know what you'd call it, maybe a chickatarian. I love chicken. I would probably cluck, actually. I really, really love chicken. And actually, my other half, he's like meat and 2 veg, real like proper northerner, like real. He loves his meat and 2 veg. So if he doesn't have meat, then he goes crazy. And I've actually found that I've got a taste for steak. So in this case, we'd have a little bit of chicken and we'd have a little bit of steak, because I think that Michelle would probably like a bit of steak. And we'd have a good old steak and a salad, because she obviously looks after herself, so she's not going to be the sort of person that will go to the chippy. So yeah, we'd have a lovely salad. And it'd be like a sunshine salad. The sort of salads that I like have fruit in them as well. I'm a bit crazy like that. So I like having like grapefruit chopped into my salads, and I like melon chopped in, and apple and things like that. And we might have a few prawns as well. Yeah, we'd have a few prawns and some lemon juice squeezed over the top. I think we'd have a good old munch on that.
Good. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, so now what I'd like to do is take us back to the 18-year-old Sammy. So what was Sammy doing at 18? Where were you living? What were you doing?
At 18, I was just finishing my A-levels. So I did art and design and media at school.
Where were you living then?
I was living in, I came from Wickford in Essex, and I went to school in Billericay. So, so I did my A-levels in Billericay, and 18. I was travelling up and down to Leeds quite a bit, interestingly, because my boyfriend at the time, he was at Leeds University. So I was going backwards and forwards. So I concentrated a bit too much on that more than I did my A-levels. So my A-levels suffered because I was always up and down in Leeds. And I had this awful, awful teacher. You know, when you get an awful teacher, I mean, you always remember a good teacher, but you always remember an awful teacher. Mrs. Jones. She was this little slip of a thing with the biggest attitude, and she absolutely hated me. And she always, well, even if she didn't hate me, she acted like she did hate me. And she'd screw my artwork up and throw it on the floor. She was like real, like passive aggressive lady. And she always said I wouldn't amount to anything. But I've always been really good with being told I can't do something. It's never been that, I've never been one of those that are told I can't and then I go, oh yeah, you're probably right. In fact, to my detriment, I ended up going out with another guy. This was after the guy I was with in Leeds. We were together about 2.5 years. And when I went off to uni, I ended up going out with this guy. And the very first phone call with his mother, she was so awful on the phone that I chose for her to be my mission. And I ended up going out with this guy, who I did love him, actually. I ended up going out with him for about 3 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Off. So, to my detriment, I'm really bad at being told I can't do something. I remember my dad saying to me after I finished my A-levels, and I said, I want to be a graphic. I knew I wanted to be a graphic designer since I was 8 years old because my cousin was doing it and it looked like such a glamorous thing. I really wanted to do it. And I was creative and I loved the whole fast moving advertising side of it. So it really intrigued me and I knew I wanted to do it. And so that was my mission. It was like, what do I do next? What do I do next? What do I do next? So after I finished my A-levels, I only really wanted to get my A-levels so I could then do my foundation in art. So I would have been 18, 19 when I went off to do that. Yeah. And I really, really loved doing this foundation. It was awesome. We had so much fun because we got to play.
Yeah, you got to play. You got to play with things. And what
then? It was actual physical stuff. No computers back then. It was like you had to do stuff and make things properly.
Yeah. And what were you listening to when you were 18? What music were you listening
to? Well, I love anything I can sing to. What was I listening to at 18? Gosh, I think probably who was around when I was 18, it would have been like, this is so funny actually, this came up a couple of weeks ago because my stepdaughter Abby, she really wanted to go and see Take That, and I wanted to go. I said, if any Take That comes up, then make sure you book them straight away. And they did. They were at Manchester Arena about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So I went over to England and I was delivering an event and I stayed on for another couple of days so I could take her to that. And All Saints came on and I was like, shit, like I haven't listened to this for years. So I think that I was probably listening to All Saints.
All Saints and Take That.
Yeah, All Saints and Take That, probably, back in the days. And look at me now.
Take That.
I'm still listening to them. Oh, hi,
okay, brilliant. So, now, what about the Sammy at 35? What were you doing by the time you got to 35?
35, right, so 6 years ago. At 35, that's when I realised that I really wasn't happy. I really, 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 really wasn't happy. And I was in a relationship with somebody. Obviously, a lot of people know me and that person, so I'm not going to say this too much about it. But I was in a relationship with someone. We were together for 4 years, and 2 years into that relationship, I must have been 35. And that's when I just thought, this isn't right. I want romance. I want fun. I want something outside of the business. I want a life outside of work. So I'd already started to go down that track. I just hadn't got the full whack of, hang on, you don't know your family anymore because you've been too busy working. So at 35, I reckon at 35, that's probably about the time that I found out about Andy Harrington. That's probably about the time that I went to Power to Achieve. So Power to Achieve, it was at that event that I I remember being sat on the front row, and some people that are listening to this might well have heard me talk about this before, because it's a very painful experience, actually. And, you know, for those of you that have been to Parachieve, and most people watching this probably have at some point been to something like that, if they haven't been to a Parachieve event, where Andy goes through this, those are the best words, you can't do that yet, where Andy goes through, I know that Tony Robbins does it as well, and he takes you through, you know, in 5 years from now, if nothing changed, if you walked out of this event and you just went back to the life that you learned with, and you continue to live with that life, what would happen in 5 years from now? Where would you be? Like, how happy would you be? And I was thinking, God, I don't think I can carry on like this. I don't think this is for me anymore. You know, I was running 5 businesses at the same time at that time. So I was heading for burnout. I was unhappy in my relationship. I didn't really have a relationship. Like I said, you know, so like 10 years before or whatever, I'd already decided I was going to set up a business because I wanted control. And yet here I am, I've got 5 companies and I've got less control than I've ever had. You know, the business was controlling me.
Isn't it interesting? I don't know where I picked these ages from, but 30 that I've talked to has been a pivotal time for them.
Yeah, well, that was a pivotal time, because he did the 5 years, then he did the 10 years, and then he did 15 years.
Yeah.
No, not 15 years, 20 years. He did 20 years, and it was when he got to 20 years, the man standing next to me, because we were stood up doing this exercise, and the man standing next to me collapsed, and whatever was going on in his head, I could only imagine, because he already looked like he was in his sort of late 60s, and I think he'd realised he wouldn't be here anymore. So he just collapsed into a ball of tears on the floor. And it was already a very emotional experience, and I'm a very visual person. And it was at that time, all I could see was coffins. My mum's coffin went past, and my dad's coffin went past, and at that time my grandma was still alive. My grandma's coffin went past, and I just came completely undone when Bonnie, who was like my fur baby daughter, because that was the closest thing I had to having a family, her little coffin went past, and that was it. And I just decided I can't go on like this. I'm missing all the lives of everybody that I care about, because I'm building a business. You know, am I really building a business? You know, is it a business that I want to build, or do I want to create change? You know, and there's a massive difference between being a business owner and an entrepreneur. There's a massive difference between those two mindsets. And back then, I look at myself now, and I had classic business owner mindset, business owner mentality. And you've got to step that up. You've got to think much bigger. To be an entrepreneur, you have to think bigger. You have to have much more vision. You have to be even more committed than when you're a business owner. Because you can be an entrepreneur and build a business, but it's the mindset behind what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Why you're doing it.
That makes the difference between those two things. And that's when I decided to be an entrepreneur. And I made that commitment to myself that to be an entrepreneur, that meant I would spend more time with my family, because I'd spend more time creating change than I would creating a business. And being my worst boss. So that was a very changing moment. So that, I'd say that was about when I was 35. Yeah, that's about 6 years ago.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so thank you for sharing all of that amazingly powerful stuff. And you know, that's why I got sorry about that. I do that all the time. That's why you know, I think it's so important that people know your why behind what you do, because I'm sure they're now resonating even more with you than they did before. So this next section is just some quick fire questions, because we need to get on with this, because we're going to run out of time. So these are my quick fires. So TV or radio?
Radio.
Radio. Fiction or non-fiction?
Fiction.
Fiction. Are you the oldest, middle or youngest child?
Oldest.
And at school, were you the goody two-shoes, the class clown, bit of a handful, or were you under the radar?
Very goody two-shoes.
Oh, were you? That's interesting.
Very goody two-shoes. I always followed the rules. I loved school. It was my A-levels that was the problem.
Okay, and what would you say your best habit is?
My best habit? Wow. My best habit is Probably how much love I have to give. I'm very good at giving love. I'm very good at contributing. Now, I think that's a good habit.
I think that's a very good habit too. And what about your worst habit?
My worst habit is my time. I get so caught up. Like, if I'm involved in something, I'm in it. And I don't, like, I'm so fully present in what I'm doing that I forget that all time exists. And it's like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be doing this. So, which is very good for the person I'm working with.
Yeah.
But I think actually that's one thing that that's been a big lesson, because we're always taught to multitask. I think to be able to multitask is actually a skill. So it's kind of just having a balance again, isn't it? It comes down to balance of being fully present, but knowing the clock.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you do these days to relax? So you've mentioned going out onto the beach with the kids.
Yeah, I love yoga. I love going out with the family. The family, the relaxation time, really, laughter. You know, all 8 kids. Well, I think we had 6 of them actually together. Greg rented out a beautiful holiday cottage in Wales, treated us all for a week over there, which is where 3 of his children are. And we all just got together, and I tell you what, my stomach hurt that next day. We had a whole night where we played games, we were silly, you know. We were just us, and we just did not stop laughing all night, and it hurt the next day. But oh my God, a wonderful way to spend real time.
Yeah. And Sammy, do you have any nicknames?
I do have. I've got 2 really that stand out. Sammy Squirrel is that was my original name, because when my birth name was Tyrrell, so my real maiden name was Tyrrell. So my granddad always used to call me Sammy Squirrel. And I have a business name. I have a business nickname as well, which I don't know. It's quite funny, I suppose. I do know a lot of people, and I'm very well connected, and there's not much I can't refer you to. Like, if for any challenge, any problem, I know pretty much anyone that can do that, even to the point that I had a client get in contact with me and ask, do I know a chimney sweep? And I did. And I, you know, so it was like, you know, I earned the nickname Blindello Pages, because obviously Yellow Pages has everything in it. Blindell, and someone called me Blindello Pages, and before I knew it, that nickname got out like wildfire, and I was Blindello Pages. But I'm also known as the Brand Brains. That's, I suppose, a much better, more professional nickname.
You are. Okay, and you know that I sing, and I know that you sing. So if we're at an event and I get you up on stage, what's your karaoke song?
Oh shit! There are so many of them. A karaoke
song. You only allowed to choose one.
You know what? We'd probably do. You and I'd probably do a duet. We'd probably do something like, you know, Bryan Adams and Mel C. Bit of funk, a bit of Baby When You're Gone. Yeah, do a bit of a duet. I reckon, you know, we could get a bit of flow going there. Yeah,
absolutely. I'd love to do that. Okay, brilliant. So now I've got another scenario for you. So I'd like to know if I'm going to send you off on holiday, basically, on a virtual holiday or a real holiday, whatever it is. I'm going to send you away for a month, and I'm going to organise all the flights and all the hotels. So all you need to do is pitch up. There's no stress involved at all. So I'd like to know, if I sent you away on holiday for a month, who would you take with you that you could spend a whole month with without a crossword?
I would take my husband, actually. I would take him, and my kids. Like, you know, they don't actually argue. We all get on so well. So I think we'd go to somewhere like, because I do love San Diego, so I'm very fortunate I'm going back out there again. And one of my favourite places that I've been to so far is called La Jolla, which is between San Diego and LA. And Greg and I went out. I was speaking at a big event in November out in San Diego, and then we decided, rather than, it's only about 3-hour drive to LA, we decided to hire a gorgeous Mustang car and take 2 days to do that drive and go all the way around the coast. and just stopping. And it's such a creative place, and it's little art shops and little boutique places, and the vibe is really awesome. The weather is stunning. You know, and you go around the coastline and there's all the seals and there's wildlife, and I'm a real country girl. I love the outdoors. And you know, you'll find me in flip-flops rather than heels these days. And I would spend that time with my family, soft top car, just having a really good giggle, experiencing new things, stopping at the beach if we want to, have a bit of lunch if we want to, you know, just complete freedom. Freedom is my number one core value, followed by creativity. So as long as I'm something where I feel free and I feel creative, and quality relationships these are my personal ones, quality relationships, as long as I'm involved in those three things in any one moment, I am like a pig in doo-doo.
Right, okay. And the next question, because we are going to run out of time. We've got an hour on Facebook Live, and I want to get it all in. So this is another music question. I'm creating a book of all of these conversations, which is going around the world in 80 days. I'm going to give you some information about that. And I'm also creating a playlist. So each one of my guests gets to choose a song to go on my playlist. And it has to be a song that makes you feel lighthearted.
I know exactly the song. I sing it to myself before I go on stage.
Which is?
What have you done today to make you feel proud?
Okay, brilliant. That's going on my list. Perfect. And then before we wind up, I've got just one question for you. Well, in fact, I don't think we've got time to do that. So what I want to do is give you the opportunity to tell us briefly what's coming up for you in the next month or the next 6 months. What are you excited about, and where can people find you to know about more? And you've got probably 3 minutes to do that.
Okay, 3 minutes. Well, I'm looking at my wall planner now. So the next month, I had actually taken the whole of August off to be at home, and I've lived here for 4 years, and I haven't spent one summer at home yet. So I was going to spend the summer at home, and then I got the call last week. So one of my awesome friends, Lynn Rose, her other half, Bob Doyle, was on The Secret. We all did a cruise together in January. We took 16 entrepreneurs on a cruise around the coast of Mexico, did masterminding around Mexico. And we just had such a good time. And Lynn put me forward without me knowing for this TV series. So next week, I've got my whole team flying over to France. And so we're planning out our strategy for the rest of the year. They will then be putting that in place while I'm over in San Diego filming for Change Makers, which is where they've taken 100 entrepreneurs from all over the world. And they've got 5 locations, 20 entrepreneurs in each location. So we're going to be going out into society. We're going to be contributing, doing really good things for people that aren't as fortunate as us, and we're going to create massive change in their life. So I'm really excited about that. What have we got after that? I've got the Brand Legacy Mastermind. So I've got my high-end, in fact, Ruth, who's watching this now, Ruth's going to fly out to France as one of my masterminders. We've got 5 days doing that. I've got my Master Your Message Mastermind retreat straight after that in France. That's another 5-day retreat. And then I fly off to Canada. I've got the Brand Building Bootcamp in Heathrow on the 20th of October. And the next day I fly out to Canada and I do it all out there as well. So we've got a bit of a world tour coming up. And we've got the retreat coming up as well in Punta Cana in the Caribbean. I'm taking 20 entrepreneurs with Bob Doyle and Lynn. In fact, I think Ruth's coming as well. So we're taking 20 entrepreneurs to really mastermind for the week on taking it up a level. So I've got celebrity interviews. I've got all kinds of things that I'm doing. We're launching How to Build a Brand TV at the end of the year. So there's loads and loads of stuff. The Brand Builders Club has taken off. It's exploded. And that's where I'm spending all of my time these days, is in the Brand Builders Club. So that's a subscription thing where I'm running challenges every day in that group, and we're having so much fun in there. And I'm bringing global entrepreneurs together to do business together as if you're next door to one another. And lots of money is exchanging hands already in that group. So that's the free group. The free group is the How to Build a Brand group. The Brand Builders Club is where it's all happening. That's where all the money's exchanging hands. That's where we're doing loads of stuff. So I'd love to invite you and your members to come and become a member of that, because that is absolutely phenomenal. I'm very
So I put both links up. I've put both links up. Once your Facebook page, your website is up now, but they can connect with you in any way. I've really enjoyed our light-hearted conversation. I hope you have too.
I have. I have. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you very much for sharing. You've been absolutely brilliant. Have a fantastic day. And I know that I'll connect with you real soon.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, everyone. Ciao.